Hey, and welcome to my channel. I am Dr. ADHD. Just over 12 months ago, I decided to build my own motion simulator platform. The decision to do this was primarily based on the prohibitive cost of motion simulators if you actually buy them commercially. The good news for my viewers is that I now teach people how to build these 3-degree and 4-degree of freedom motion simulators. I'll teach you all aspects of building a motion sim, from material selection, fabrication, the right electronics to use, the right motors to use, the right software to use, and how to set everything up so you too can take advantage of track builders like Sergio Loro, the subject of our video today, and his versatile road meshing system available in Assetto Corsa. If you enjoy my content, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notifications bell so when new material hits my channel, you'll know it's there and you can check it out. So now that I have tasted of the fruit of motion, there is never any going back to static, whether it be a fancy static rig or sitting at a desk with a steering wheel and a set of pedals. There's just no going back once you've experienced motion. And one thing I've learned since building my motion simulator is not all tracks are created equally. There's two types of tracks available for us on any sim racing platform that we may enjoy. We have developer tracks, which are frequently high quality laser scanned tracks, or we have a vast amount of modders out there who have built tracks, and I've spent a long time testing both, and generally speaking, any developer track that's been laser scanned, you can't really go wrong with. Quality tracks and fantastic road meshing. As far as the modding scene goes, it's very hit and miss. My two favourite modders for Assetto Corsa, and that's what we're talking about today, are Sergio Loro and Fat Alfie. These two creators have both got their own thing going on as far as their track creation goes, and there are advantages with both of these creators, but they both have excellent road mesh that is on par with some of the developer laser scan tracks that I have used. Sergio Loro's system, of course, offers actual different choices for road surface roughness. A Fat Alfie track doesn't give you choices in road surface roughness, but his road meshes are top notch from the download. Couple this with Fat Alfie's amazing aesthetic appeal for his tracks. This comes down, of course, to the fact that Fat Alfie is a graphic designer in real life, so his tracks visually are really something to behold, as well as his great road meshing. Now, because of their fantastic road meshing systems with my motion simulator, this has led me to contact both Sergio and Fat Alfie recently and interview them about their track building. One of those interviews, my interview with Sergio Loro, is already on my channel. Here's the link here now. You can go to this link to see that interview with Sergio, and my interview with Fat Alfie will be hitting my channel very soon. In this video today, however, we are focusing on Sergio Loro and his different road meshing systems available when you download one of his tracks. When you download one of Sergio's tracks, he has a file system in the track folder that enables you to select low, medium, high, or ultra road surface roughness. So for our test today, we will go in car at the same time as having a visual of our motion sim, similar to what you see in the video at the moment. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my sim tools, game manager, profile editor, and I'm going to set up the intensity level for my motion sim at 100%. I will then load up one of Sergio's ultra road meshes for Suzuka, and we will test it in ultra. Then I will load up one of his medium road meshes for Suzuka, and we will test that. Both of these tested with the intensity level in SimTools at 100%. Then I'm going to wind the intensity level in SimTools down to 75%, and then we'll go through the same process again, loading his ultra road mesh first and testing that at 75%, then loading his medium road mesh and then testing that at 75% in SimTools. Now, so I can be reasonably scientific about this, I'm going to go into my tuning center in SimTools first. What I have found is that this is an excellent way to basically get the best out of your motion sim for whatever given car you're driving and whatever given track that you intend to race on. It's well worth going to the trouble each time that you select a new car or a new track to actually run a tuning center capture. When we do this, it enables sim tools to be able to capture all of the vectors in the road meshing and the car physics and translate them back into sim tools, which directly translates more accurately into your motion simulator platform. So I'll hit capture min max, I'll reset, and then we're ready to rock and roll to do a lap and capture all of the vectors we need to capture for a nice crisp motion sim experience in our test. So now that those couple of laps in the car we're driving, on the track we're driving is done, I'm back into Tuning Center here, and the first thing I'll do is save new settings. Then I will stop the capture. Now we have fresh data for this track and this car to do our test with Sergio's road meshing. Here I am in Game Manager, in Profile Editor, adjusting my intensity level here to be at 100% for our first lot of tests. Now if we have a look over in Game Engine, these are my Axis A assignments. These are my front vertical motors, and these are the degrees of force I have set up on those motors. Surge at 25, heave at 25, roll at 12, and pitch at 25. Then if we look at Axis Assignments B, this is where the surge trolley rail system lives and the traction loss lives. And these degrees of force are set up at 15% for some heave on the surge motor and 70% actually for surge, 45% for our traction loss there on extra 1. One thing I will say from the outset of this test is I'm glad that I decided to build a very robust industrial grade motion simulator. If it wasn't for the fact we were actually testing Sergio's road mesh systems with the motion sim and me deliberately running my motion sim intensity at 100%, I would never do this. Because when things like this happen and a psychotic Datsun driver wants to show who's boss in the race, whacks into you like that, it almost breaks your back and rattles your teeth out. Jokes aside, it was just way too intense for anything that I would actually use practically, and to be honest, very unrealistic, I think, as far as what you would feel in a car versus what I was getting in the motion sim with Sergio's Ultra Road Mesh and my sim intensity level running at 100%. I really struggled to actually drive. I was literally hanging onto the steering wheel to brace myself because of all the motion, and at times, because of how violent the motion is, with the intensity level set at 100% with Sergio's Ultra, I found it hard even sometimes to find the gear shift to change gears. You're just getting rocked around that much. But for the sake of science and for the purposes of our demonstration today, we shall persevere, and I will do a full lap with Ultra and the sim intensity at 100%. And I must say too that this is no reflection on Sergio's Ultra Road Meshing. This is all down to the fact that the intensity level in Game Manager is pumped all the way up to 100, as you'll see when we do our test at 75% on Sergio's Ultra Road Mesh. Love or hate the actual amount of motion coming through the motion simulator, if you actually focus on the race footage in the car, you'll see that what's happening in the car syncs very accurately with what's happening on the motion sim. I believe this tells me that Sergio's vertex noise, or his vertex groupings as it's also known with the track meshing for Assetto Corsa, those algorithms have been picked up very accurately by sim tools via the plugin for Assetto Corsa, and this in turn is basically taking the percentages of force I had set up in Game Engine and transferring that information quite accurately to my motors. Oh wow, where I just drove off the road there came through the sim amazingly. Now it's when you get to high speeds, and this is known as the backstretch at Suzuka, and we can get all the way into 5th gear, this is where things can really get crazy with a motion simulator. It's when you get to really high speeds that it can become quite dangerous. If something was to actually go pear-shaped with the sim, And that's something that needs to be kept in mind as well. If you're planning on building your sim and you want to run very high degrees of force, there are risks that come into play by doing that. And as you'll see in the other tests, you really will never need to run the motion simulator at 100% in Game Manager in its intensity level. The surge, and as you can see here, the body roll in the Bellett at 75%, more than enough coming through the motion sim, more than enough. And that's with the roll set up at only 12 degrees of force in Game Engine. So let's exit out of this. Let's go back to our Game Manager. Let's get our intensity back down to 75% instead of this madness at 100. And then let's do another lap and we'll see how the motion sim behaves driving around Suzuka with 75% intensity for the motion sim. Wow, gobs of surge there on the trolley rail system, as you can see, even for a fairly moderately powered car here at 170 horsepower. Lots of surge coming through the trolley rail system. Oh, and clearly we have drivers in this race coked up to the eyeballs. I'm glad I wasn't next to that other Bellett when he decided to have some kind of fit or something at the wheel. Yes, the Isuzu Bellett. I have quite a lot of history with an Isuzu Bellett, driven one several times, had a close friend that had one, and we'll cover that in another video. We'll do a proper race of Suzuka with the Belletts, and I'll tell you a little story about a time that the Bellett we were driving almost ended us due to a bit of a disaster that happened with the car, but we lived to tell the tale. That's for another video. So straight away you can see how the motion sim is just so much calmer this way. Now I'm still feeling I'm getting a lot of feedback into my motion sim, and I feel like it's accurate as to what's happening with the road surface itself without the excessive violence and unrealistic motion. And the force feedback, taken out by another Bellett there. Well, I suppose it gives you a chance to actually see what happens with the sim when you have a crash. Perhaps my reference to drugged up drivers are actually not that inaccurate. Now, I do have the aggression of the AI at 75%, so that will do that to you. Going back to what I was trying to say, I use the force feedback, my direct drive steering wheel, frequently to measure what's happening with the sim. And the two seem to be nicely in harmony together. What's happening with the sim, what I'm getting through the direct drive Fanatec wheel, it's pretty well matched. But this is a bit of a mind trick, guys, this whole motion sim. This is a simulation, it is not real. We are trying to emulate the real inertia and forces that would happen in a car, a car's weight, the speeds, the braking, the acceleration, etc. It is only a simulation, and as good as they will be able to make simulations, it will never be, I'm off the road there at the same location as when we're on 100%, and that still came through brilliantly at 75, so 75% is more than enough. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say, guys, is no matter how close they will get these motion simulators and the software that basically supports the motion sim, it's never going to be the real deal. It's going to get close. It certainly beats sitting at a desk with a steering wheel and pedals, or even sitting in a fancy static rig. You will never get more immersion or accuracy than you would get with actual motion, if you get it set up properly and if you get the right motion sim. Now, from what I've read and what I hear, some of the entry-level motion sims, even 3 Degree of Freedom, whatever, they're actually quite weak, and unless you do some quite expensive upgrades, they're not great. So building one is the way to go, and I can help you with that, funnily enough. Best if you be subscribing to the channel and building a motion sim. Let me take you through how to set up the road meshing system for Sergio's tracks. First, go to your Assetto Corsa folder. Mine's in Programs 86, Steam Apps, common Assetto Corsa. When we're in here, we'll go to content, we'll go to tracks, then we just need to find a Sergio track. To find a Sergio track is quite easy. All of his tracks end with _F3 CT for circuit. Now we're setting this up for Suzuka. That's what we are testing today. So down we scrolling. I'm going to get arthritis here in a second. And Suzuka F3 CT. There we are. So we'll click on this. Now in this folder, you'll see the road mesh folder here. That has our low, medium, high and ultra road meshes in that folder. And then there's a file in here already loaded now for ultra, which is what we've just been testing. It's found in here. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the road mesh folder. Back to the road mesh folder, Quack. Doc, the road mesh folder. Doc, who's on the drugs now, Doc? Hey, road mesh folder. Road mesh folder. There we go, road mesh folder. And we'll select our medium road meshing now. Click on this, then just right click on this file and copy. Then we'll go back to the main folder here and then just right click in this folder, paste, and then that will load. Once we've replaced the file in the destination, our medium road mesh. Now let's see how this bad boy goes with the sim. But first, we'll bring up Game Manager in Sim Tools, and then we will adjust our intensity level back from 75 back up to 100. Remember, we had it at 75 for our Ultra in our last test. Back to 100 now for the new medium road meshing system, and let's rock and roll. Well, I hope you are enjoying the test sequence here for the road meshes with the motion sim. I certainly am. So again, even with the medium road mesh set at medium, funnily enough, this does not affect our surge axis because the surge axis is not based on the road. It's based on the physics of the car. So that's why that's not really changing much between road meshing. It's more the actual vertical motors on the front that are going to, man, it'd be handy if I kept it on the road. They're what are going to change the most between Sergio's road meshes. Separate, of course, from our Game Manager intensity. And so this is akin for me in the way I'm feeling things as I try and take out the fellow Bellett driver in front of me there. With the medium road mesh ramped all the way up at 100, this is very similar to the Ultra at 75. Kind of makes sense, I guess. What's that old adage they say, you had to be there? Well, you've got to sort of experience it to understand what I'm talking about. Oh, off the road there again. Whoa, whoa. Oh boy. Oh, I'm stuck now on this Datsun. All right, there we go. Wow, so I went off the road there a little bit on the right and it arced the car right up off the ground, and that came through in the sim. The right hand corner of the sim surging right up there, so that was quite realistic. Whoa, I've got a bit excited here trying to catch up to the rest of the drivers. Easy there, Quack. And we're back into it. Well, this is good. Let's give this thing a right belting and see what this is all about at a medium track mesh at 100% with the sim intensity. Oh, the front of the car there lifting under the torque. So you can imagine the twist in the chassis in this thing. They really did have a decent amount of get up and go, these little Belletts. And like I say, we'll do a video on having a proper race here at Suzuka in the Belletts, and I'll take you through all about the Isuzu Belletts in Australia. They were popular in Australia, Japanese import. And the friend I had, his family had 3 of them, and his father had a GTR. He had a 4-door sedan that he'd totally modified, triple Weber carbs, extractors, a warmer cam. It went like the powers, but it did nearly kill us, and I will talk about that in another video. So coming around that left off bank right sweeper there, great roll on the sim to mimic that. Very happy with these settings and this road meshing. Let's get things changed up, and let's get Sergio's medium road mesh down to 75% in Game Manager in the intensity level. Let's see what it's all about now with this setting. Well, I know I'm a man that is stuck in the past, but this Bellett just takes me straight back to the late 80s when my friend owned one of these. I can almost smell, you know, the way these cars smelt. It's sensational being able to drive one of these in a simulation. Check out this surge, guys. I'm deliberately going on and off the accelerator there. That surge trolley rail system just works so well. Oh, slip around all these guys. Oh, on the outside, a little bit of traction loss there. So our medium setting now on 75%, it is quite a calm motion sim. I would say it's nice, you know, it's nice. You've got motion, but you've really got more surge happening now. The balance between the surge and the actual heave from the road surface, and the pitch and the roll, of course, from undulations in the road, rising up as we're going up hills, dropping down as we're going down, plus dips, etc., is a little bit out of balance. Now that could be addressed, of course, with off the road there. That could be addressed just by tweaking the actual percentages of force in game engine itself. But I would probably leave my percentages of force, or my degrees of force as I call them sometimes, I'd probably just leave them as they are, and I'd select the 100% intensity level in Game Manager for Sergio's medium road mesh. That seemed to work the nicest for me. I thought it felt the most realistic. I felt every bump, every dip, all the rolls there, the pitches there for going uphill and downhill. Oh, the body roll is there. The surge is certainly there because of the physics of the car. And I'd end up leaving his medium road mesh 100% intensity in Game Manager and Sim Tools. And I'd run with that. Though I do really like the Ultra. I do really like his Ultra. So perhaps I'm talking out my arse here. Maybe I'd go with the Ultra, Sergio's Ultra, to bring in every exaggeration known to man that he's placed in his vertex noise, his vertex groupings for the road meshing. And I would just wind the intensity down to 75. Whichever way it goes, I hope to see you guys in my next video. And until I do see you in that video, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and take it easy out there.